The looming war will be fought on many fronts. I'm Brian Lilley with TheRebel.media. Look, let's face facts. The election campaign's well underway. Forget about this October election. The campaign started months ago, not even when Parliament rose last week. But this is going to be a different election campaign for many reasons. We've talked about the outside groups, the PACs that are coming, Engage Canada, HarperPAC, and so on. But you've also got the media, and the media is just being very upfront in the fact that they are both against Conservatives in general, but specifically against Harper. Let me give you a few examples. Take this article, if you'll call it that, in the Globe and Mail, Canada's newspaper of record, as they like to call themselves, is by their justice reporter, Sean Fine. And it's critiquing the appointment of Justice Miller to the Ontario Court of Appeal. Why? He doesn't have a long track record, and he was against gay marriage back before 2005 when it became law, don't you know? This is a regular feature of the Globe, picking at Conservative judicial appointments and calling for bold judges. By bold judges, they mean someone who believes that the Constitution is a living tree to be reinterpreted in any way you want, to be a la mode, whatever the fashion is at the time. Not someone that believes that judges are actually there to interpret the law as opposed to change and make the law in their own image. That's what the Globe and Mail wants. They want judges that will make the law in their own downtown Toronto urban elitist image. Justice Miller doesn't fit that bill, so they're against him. That's one example from today. Then let me show you an example from Power and Politics the other night. The Power panel, as they call it, a bunch of political operatives and a journalist talking about the issues of the day, and Glenn McGregor of the Ottawa Citizen's on. And he's asked about Engage Canada versus HarperPAC. Now, I've spoken about how the other media will not fact-check Engage Canada. They haven't done it, just like they haven't fact-checked Unifor's ads. They won't fact-check ads from the left, but they'll fact-check ads from the right. McGregor himself, guilty of this. But listen to what he said when he's asked about the two different types of PACs.
The thing that I find concerning about it is that there is no accountability for who's funding it. In the case of the union sponsors ads, we got a pretty good idea that it's, some of the big unions, Unifor, people like that. But with these other ones, who knows who's funding this stuff? And that is really contrary to the evolution of our electoral law.
Engage Canada is okay because it's being funded by unions, but you don't know about these other guys? What? Give me a break. We know that Engage Canada is being funded by unions, but we don't know all their donors. So if you must know all their donors, then all of them are bad. And as far as Engage Canada having unions back it, but HarperPAC having to ask regular Canadians for money, well, you know what? At least people giving a HarperPAC, or pick another left-wing group that wants to do this, at least they're giving their money freely. Whereas the Unifor ads, the Engage Canada ads bought and paid for by the unions, that's all money being taken from people and spent without their say. Because the union bosses have decided that even though at least a third of their members vote Conservative, doesn't matter. They want to vote them out, and that's their goal. So you've got the opposition parties running against Stephen Harper and the Conservatives. You've got these PACs running against Stephen Harper and the Conservatives. You've got the unions, and you've got the media. Now, I put this question to you again. Are the other journalists not fact-checking these union-backed groups because, and not being hard on them in the way they are with others, because they themselves are unionized, because their union, Unifor, many members of the media belong to Unifor. They represent between 10 and 13,000 people across the country in media industries. So are they not fact-checking them because it's their union money that's going to pay for it? I say it's time that we call out again the bureau chiefs here in Ottawa that run the news departments at CTV and Post Media and CBC, so Canadian Press as well. So Heather Scotfield at Canadian Press, Bob Fife at CTV, Mark Kennedy at the Citizen, whoever's running Post Media these days, Rob Russo at CBC. Will you make sure that your journalists at least attempt to be fair and balanced? I'm not saying they got to be Fox. I know using that term, fair and balanced, is a trigger for some of you, but will you at least have them treat the left-wing groups the same as the right-wing groups? Are you going to give the parties the same treatment, regardless of your own journalist ideology or the fact that their union is trying to unelect the Harper government? I think that's vital that we get that on the record before the election comes, before the campaign officially begins, because after that point, all hell's going to break loose, and by hell, I mean some of the stories you're going to see are just going to be atrocious. We've seen it before, and I fear we're going to see it again. Canadians will make up their minds. They'll decide whether this government deserves to be reelected based on the merits of how they've acted and the offer they put in the window. They'll judge them against the other parties. They'll judge them against their own record and then make up their own minds. But one thing that they shouldn't be swayed by is a media so biased, so intent on getting rid of Harper that they'll stoop to doing BS stories or treating one side of the political equation far better than they treat the other side.